15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. 15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. Fuck yeah!
All right, welcome back to episode 17 of 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon. Fear does not exist in this dojo. I hope you guys are doing good. It's been a fun one. I feel like I'm drunker than the amount of beers that I've drank for some reason. But if you're watching the Facebook, that was just the Wimps with Other People's Pizza. This is Dave Ramm's opus. I had to play it twice because it's only 2 minutes. It takes me a little bit to piss. Maybe the best rock and roll song ever written, I think. And we're going to give my man a call. If you're listening to this on a podcast site, then you should subscribe or like, or I don't know, what do people say? All the podcasts say the same thing. Like, write a review, tell your friends, send me $33. Yeah, and if you have any thoughts on whether I should move to YouTube or keep doing this on Facebook, let me know that too, because I don't know what the fuck to do, man. I'm a simple man in this crazy world that I don't understand. Dave Ramm. Whoa.
Kevin?
Yo, what's up, Dave Ramm?
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
All right. What's up?
Not much. How you fucking living?
I'm doing okay. It's really smoky out here in Seattle.
Oh, shit. I thought about that when we were going to start talking, and now I got drunk and I forgot all about it. You're in Seattle?
I'm in Seattle, yes.
And the whole fucking West Coast, it's just like smoky as shit.
Yeah, it's I think it's worse in Portland, but it's pretty bad. I think we were like number 3, like worst air quality in the world, like yesterday.
Wow.
I think we're like right around there. So I've been staying inside the past, actually 4 or 5 days. I haven't really gone out much. I'm kind of staying inside.
They're like, fucking the COVID, stay inside. And everyone's like, okay, we did for a little bit, but now we're going to go out again. They're like, fires, stay inside. It's like, fucking...
Yeah, it's just one thing after another. But I don't know. It's supposed to clear up, I think, like Thursday or Friday a little bit. But it's like a week-long thing. So it's I don't know. It kind of sucks. I can feel it in my throat,
yeah,
my chest.
So, like, they're kind of getting the fires under control, and they think that by Tuesday the air's going to clear up, or they think by like whatever day they're going to get the fires under control.
Yeah, I think here, at least in Seattle, it's supposed to rain on Thursday and Friday, and I think that's supposed to help. But
okay,
yeah, I'm not really sure how like contained the fires are, or how they're doing in Portland. I think Portland has it worse because there's more fires there than in Washington.
And you were living there for quite a while beforehand, right?
I've mostly been in Seattle, but I had like 2 different, I guess, stints in Portland, for school stuff. Like I was there for like a year, and then moved back to Seattle, and I moved back because I got into grad school. I've been in Seattle most of the time, though. I've been on the West Coast. Yeah.
Cool. What the fuck was I gonna say? I know some people that like grew up. I'm 45. You're a little bit younger than me, right?
No, I'm 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had some friends that grew up out there during basically our age, and I guess the Mount St. Helens thing was a huge deal. Like the ash from that, like everyone wore masks for a summer or whatever. everyone
Yeah.
remembers that summer as a kid where they had to like wear masks or like whatever they did in 1981 or whatever that was.
Yeah, I
Like,
think it was 81. Yeah, 80, 81. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy seeing like the footage of that and like how
hmm
fucked up and scary it was. But yeah, it's yeah, let's see, I was around 5 or 6 then. I don't remember that being a big thing in the East Coast.
no, it wasn't at all. I don't think. I
Yeah,
mean, I think it was like for some reason, like I think when I was a kid, like I was interested in dinosaurs and volcanoes. So like
yeah,
it was interesting to me, like when I was 7 or years after it happened or whatever. But then hearing stories about it much later in life when I went out there and like met people that had lived there, like it was very interesting.
yeah. Their whole lives were like, you
Yeah,
know,
especially
fucked
as a
up. And
kid to like imagine having to or like this coronavirus like where this kid's gonna have to wear a mask for this year or whatever. That's gonna be a very thing they're gonna remember forever. Like it's very
yeah, I feel lucky that I didn't have to deal with that when I was a kid. I think, it's
yeah.
a weird time for a lot of kids, especially like, young kids like in kindergarten or first grade and having to deal with that. And I don't know. It's just something I'm glad. I feel bad for them. Yeah,
Yeah, well, there's enough anxiety with school to begin with, but now having to like worry about, you know.
yeah, I know,
Oh,
right? Yeah,
and what are you're doing like speech therapy? Is that what you do?
yeah. I'm just doing speech therapy in the school. It's about like a half-hour drive south of Seattle,
Okay,
in a town called Des Moines,
that's in
which
Iowa,
is
Dave.
yeah, it's kind of like I know, right? They actually pronounce it Des Moines, not Des Moines, so I had to learn that.
Okay,
It's pretty close to the airport, the Seattle airport.
gotcha. SeaTac.
Um, SeaTac, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like very close to there. Um, so I've been working, but doing everything online, and
So you like do from home?
yeah. So I can actually go in and work from my office at school, but it doesn't really make sense
The
because there's
kids
no
are
kids
the
there.
kids are home though anyway, so
Yeah,
like I
all the
got you.
kids are home, and in the beginning in July they wanted to do like a hybrid thing where they came in 2 days a week, but
Yeah,
then
yeah,
our numbers were too high, so they just decided to have it all online, for the foreseeable future.
yeah,
I
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when they're gonna switch it. It's probably gonna be, I would think, at least until January, but
I don't
who
I don't have any kids, but it seems like a lot of places on the East Coast have been like, we're gonna do the hybrid thing until October, and then see how it's going. And by see how it's going, it's gonna go bad, and
Yeah,
then we're gonna change it because we're fucking stupid. It seems like a very stupid approach. Like we're gonna do it until it gets bad, and then we're gonna go back to the way we probably should
yeah.
have done it from the beginning.
Let's
But
wait till it fails and then do something.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think I don't know. I'd rather be working, but I think it's the best thing to do right now. It's like
Yeah.
the least worst thing anyway. I mean, I'd much rather be seeing kids in person. I think that's a better way for them to
Is
learn
that
and
so?
keep
With
them.
the speech stuff, like, is that how does that translate to the online teaching? Is it much
Um,
worse?
so it's funny. So far this year, I haven't really. I've been seeing kids here and there, but my actual schedule starts next week, where I see them regularly.
Okay.
But March through June, I was just doing like Zoom sessions, one-on-one with them, and the thing that sucks though is a lot of kids. Like I work with a lot of kids, like who don't have a lot of money,
So they don't have
and
the
but
facility or like a
they don't either
laptop
have
or yeah.
computers or even internet access.
Yeah.
Luckily, the schools have like given computers to all the kids, but sometimes just stuff where like their parents are working or they're in daycare, and it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to find like time to see them. So there's just like a lot of obstacles and stuff to get them to sit down from a computer. And plus, if you're like 5 years old, like who wants to sit in front of a computer even for like an hour?
I mean, well,
Uh,
I mean, my youth, a lot of it was spent, playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out. So that was kind of
yeah, me
same
too.
for.
Yeah, I mean, I was a Super Nintendo guy. Yeah,
Did you ever beat Mike Tyson?
I did, and like I think I tried playing it again, and I forgot like the choreography you needed to do. Like you had to duck,
Yeah.
duck, punch, duck, duck, punch. You know, like it was like a pattern.
Yeah.
And I love Punch Out. I love Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and it felt so good when you knocked him out. It was like the best feeling.
I never beat him like in my youth, but when we were playing with Hauler and Tom and Ian lived in High Falls at a house, and they had a thing in Punch Out. I beat him there when I was like in my 20s, and it almost felt better because like you got me when I was young, Mike, but now I'm grown up, you know.
You
And
jump up and down and start yelling.
yeah, I thought after that the world would be in the palm of my hands, but I was wrong. You know,
Those are like the best feelings, you know, when you clear those games. Yeah.
yeah, it's fun to beat games.
I remember those characters were fun. Like, was it Soda Popinski?
That's what Tom LePage would always call me, Soda Popinski. He still does. Like if we go out to New Hampshire, he's still once we get some drinks in us.
So I didn't know. Where are you calling? Are you in Kingston right now?
Yeah, I'm in Kingston.
Did you used to live in High Falls?
I never lived in High Falls. I was New Paltz, and then Rosendale, then Kingston. It's kind of I'm migrating north.
So I remember
slowly.
I think one trip, me and Jim stopped by your place in Rosendale.
Okay.
I never saw. I remember what you living in New Paltz for sure, obviously.
Yeah.
But I never saw where you were in Kingston.
No. Yeah, you guys played. The Wimps played on that Sunday with Matto.
Matt, yeah,
that was a while ago. Like I regret that show a little bit. Just I'm not going to it, but the fact that like if Tiger Piss would have played, I think it would have been a little bit better. You guys didn't have a local, and I think that kind of hurt the turnout for that. But
yeah, it was fun just being there, and like I think Rachel and Matt were just tired.
Yeah.
And, I was like excited to see, like I think you were there, and Carl Clark was there. And, Jim didn't make it. Jim was just coming back from I think some vacation.
Yeah, it was a Sunday night, I think. So it was
Sunday night, but I don't know. It just felt, I do miss that area. It felt good to be there,
And you guys, like your band, you play with. Is that the only band you're playing with right now? The Wimps? Wimps?
Yeah, right now that's it. And actually, we haven't, because of COVID, and the other two in the band are a couple, and they had a kid last year. So we actually haven't really played in a long time.
Okay. Like before this, yeah. I mean, you're not broken up, but you're just not active.
Yeah, like we practiced in February once and in March once, and we're kind of like getting back into the swing of things after Rachel had her kid.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. It was just like kind of like fuck it, like we're just kind of hunkered down. We're like talking about trying to start up again soon, but I think with the baby and their jobs is kind of rough right now. Their baby's like about 1 year old now. But yeah, we still want to play, and we even had shows booked in like May, but they got canceled, of course. So I'm hoping like the next few months we'll just start practicing stuff. Have you been playing at all? Like rehearsing?
No, not outside. Like not live music at all. Me and Ian Fuller. I'm trying to work on my like recording setup kind of thing. So like me and Ian Fuller have been like sending some songs back and forth together, trying to work on like recording more than actual playing out.
Yeah.
I did
perfect time to do that.
Yeah, we did a live stream. Me and Mal, my banjo player, did a Red Necromancer live stream for like this festival on the 4th of July that we play every year in Winston-Salem. But that's like the only thing that I've done like live since then.
Yeah. So how are people good about like wearing masks and stuff out there? And
yeah, pretty good. I mean, I'll go to the grocery. I go to the grocery store fairly often, and I just grab a couple things each time or whatever. So like last week, I did see a dude walking out without a mask. He was like walking out as I was walking in, and it was just like, what the fuck, really? And then you see a lot of like the nose out kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, most people are good. How is it
That's
out?
good.
How is it out there?
I think whenever I go grocery shopping, which is like it feels like the only time I really get out these days. Like, I think people are like 95% good,
Yeah,
with wearing masks. So yeah, I feel like it's mostly pretty good, and people are pretty respectful and stuff. It is kind of stressful though. Like, I never like have been this stressed like going out and shopping before.
yeah,
Like, I kind of just want to get in there, get my stuff, and get out of there.
yeah. I've gotten a little bit complacent. I'll admit. Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
Like, I wear a
Well,
mask. A lot of dog walk are weird, and I've seen some people post like, "Why don't dog walkers think that they don't have to wear masks?" And I'm like, if I have a dog, I like generally am not going to be within 6 feet of you. Like that's what.
right.
So let's just not get close. So,
Yeah, if I'm just like walking around outside, I don't, and there's no one around, I don't really wear it.
yeah,
But if I'm like walking with a lot of people around, then I'll put it on, kind of
yeah.
thing. Um,
Right before I called you, I play. I take a break, and I usually have to piss because I'm drinking beers or whatever. But other people's pizza is only 2 minutes long, so I had to put it on the playlist twice. And I did get back just as the second time was starting, but whatever. So we let it play twice. Have you thought about starting your solo career? Because that's obviously the hit. It's not the most played song on Spotify, but only because people don't know about it.
I think if I did a solo thing, it would have to be like other people writing it, kind of like a charity for Dave Ramm album. I don't know. I don't know how to write songs like Rachel wrote that song, and
She wrote other people's pizza for you?
yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
wow. Okay.
I might have changed a couple words, but like it was like pretty much all her.
All right.
And
Okay. It's
just
fucking. I mean, it's pretty perfect.
it's pretty perfect for me. The idea was like one night I think we were hanging out. We're like, it'd be funny to do a Dave Ram album, kind of like like a Ringo Starr, kind of like where like kind of like just getting other people to write the songs and me singing terribly on it.
You sound fucking great. Only if it's cheese. That's fucking great.
And we recorded it, and it was the first time I've like played drums and sang at the same time, which it took a little bit, even though it's really.
Did you recorded it? You played drums and sang while you recorded it?
No, but doing it live.
Yeah, that's probably it's difficult.
But I just kept it really fucking simple, and was like, oh, I'm just gonna keep it really easy so I can play drums and sing it at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's super fun. I mean, like, I don't know, it's fun trying new things.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the fucking hit too. I think it's like not to diminish any of the other one's material, but I think
It's pretty catchy. I mean, like,
yeah.
kids like it too. Like I've heard of like a lot of little kids liking it, and that feels really good. I think we should do a kids album. That'd be pretty awesome.
And do you go pizza only cheese? Is that your?
Yeah, I mean, like, cheese is my definite go-to. Like, there's other
you have
stuff
a pretty like a limited palate, if I remember correctly.
I'm a very picky eater. Like I could do like pesto pizza. There's a they have this pesto pizza by me, which is really good. And I could deal with some veggies on it, but I'm not really. I guess I could do pepperoni, but I'm not. I just think it tastes better without pepperoni. I know it's really weird.
Yeah, I'm not a big pepperoni guy either. Like, give me mushrooms and meatballs. I think that's a better thing than pepperoni.
I think I'd much rather have mushrooms on my pizza than pepperoni.
All right, so you're not that picky, because a lot of picky eaters don't like mushrooms.
Yeah, but I would prefer just a plain cheese by far. Like that would be my choice.
My problem, I don't know what pizzas are like out there, but Kingston, everything is like this fucking doughy ass mess. Like, why does this dough have to be so fucking thick? Like, seriously, it's like a fucking cake. Why can't we just have a nice thin fucking crisp crust?
My favorite is just like a thin crust, like cheese, like New York style. Yeah. I guess like Brooklyn or whatever style pizza.
And you grew up. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Brooklyn.
Oh man. So
And
you're the original hipster.
yeah, the original. I grew up in Bay Ridge, which is not a hip part, but
Okay.
still Brooklyn. It's kind of near the Verrazano Bridge.
Gotcha.
Then I went to New Paltz when I was 18, and then I was in New Paltz for 5 years, and then I moved to Seattle.
What made you start playing drums? Chris Tanis?
What was that?
Was it Chris Tanis?
No, I played drums in Brooklyn on
Oh,
my
you did.
own.
Okay.
I mean, I knew a little bit. I'd never been in a band until the Pulses and meeting Jesse and Haas and Larry. But I was just super into music. Like, I was in 7th and 8th grade and was really getting into like Guns N' Roses and Led Zeppelin and The Who. And just like I went from like really liking baseball to music, and
Okay.
then I became like really obsessed with music. And then I tried guitar first and it was too hard. And then I was like, well, drums are second, and bass was going to be the last choice. So I would just like, I was so into like The Who and Zeppelin, like I would just,
Yeah.
crank it in my room and then try to kind of copy it.
Okay.
I wasn't in a band until, I was 20, and me and
And New
Jesse.
Paltz, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot different, just kind of fucking around in your room than like
Yeah.
actually playing with people and trying to like do a beat for 3 minutes instead of being, just doing whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like get better at certain things, whether it's guitar or I just bought like a fucking nice Iron Cobra double bass pedal,
Oh, those are nice. Yeah.
and I'm playing just like I'm shit at it. So it's like I sit here and I just do at fucking 120 BPMs to a metronome. And it's funny how much harder doing things, like you said, playing with a band, but like, which is almost the same as playing to a metronome. Like, you have to keep at least some kind of tempo. It's
Yeah.
harder to do things to that, like, oh, I can play this. Can you play it to this tempo? No. It's like, it's hard. Like, it's a good way to train challenge
Yeah.
yourself or whatever. But
Yeah. I remember whenever I tried double bass pedal, like, it's like when I'm flopping around, like I'm so I've just never had one, and I've never had.
I'm garbage at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I think someone was just like, you tell me like, you just think of, the left. I mean, I'm a righty, so like the left foot would just be kind of like, I don't know, like hitting the hi-hat, and the right one would be like how you normally would play. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's I like watching Keith Moon play and how he's just kind of like spastic and all over the place, and it's like it still kind of sounds good, even though I don't know like if he like technically knows what he's doing, but it just sounds really cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fucking savage, and I don't know that, like, I could never play like that. I just don't have the like, wherewithal to like be
I
as
don't have
frenetic as him, but
the natural ability or cocaine to play like Keith.
So you said you were into baseball before that. You're a Mets dude?
Yeah, I was a huge Mets fan.
So you were like 80s, like the Strawberry Gooden, fucking Mookie Wilson. That's a good Mets era.
Yeah, that was like, the prime Mets area. I started getting into them in '84, and that was like Gooden's first year. And then '85 was like, they had a great year, but lost.
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Fuck the Astros, right? No, the Cardinals beat them that year?
The Cardinals won the division '85, and then in '86 they won everything, and it was like the best, World Series, the best feeling. And then I kind of still paid attention, but like I started losing interest. But I was, for like a good 3 or 4 years, I was super into it, and I'm kind of getting back around to it a little more. I'm still like, I try to watch Mets games when I can.
Have you been watching this year?
I watched a couple, but I don't have the subscription to watch Mets games, so I've watched a lot of Mariners games. And I've kind of become a Mariners fan. Mets are still number one, but Seattle Mariners are definitely become,
Yeah.
pretty close just because that's what's here.
Yeah, I mean, and they're fun. They were at least. I remember like going out in the early 2000s and visiting my friend Justine and like Edgar Martinez, Ichiro. They had like a kind of cool team about them,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, the 2001 team was like.
Yeah, and that's when you were out. Yeah,
right.
right. Not long after, or you were out there when that team was around, and when Safeco was built. Like you were there, right?
Yeah, I was here for the implosion of the Kingdom.
Did you see any games at the Kingdom?
No, I never. They blew it up. I think like the year I moved here, or maybe the next year.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to go because I know like they had concerts there too. Would have been kind of fun to check it out. I've heard like a lot of bad things about the sound for concerts there, just like bounced around like crazy. Yeah. But I know like lots of cool bands play there. I think the last thing there was like a U2 show or something.
Oh
wow. But all the big bands would do their shows at the Kingdom.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, I started going to Mariners games again. I mean, not this year, but I was doing like about a good 4 or 5 a year, and it's a Safeco. It's called T-Mobile now. It's a pretty awesome place to go.
Yeah, it's great. I like seeing games there a lot.
Yeah, it's a cool field. Are you Yankees or Mets or not?
I grew up like early 80s, like when I was like 6, 7 or whatever. Like I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. Because my parents were like in a very volatile situation or whatever. And so the only way when I stayed with my grandparents I could stay up past 8 o'clock was to watch the Yankees games with my grandma. And she used to love like Lou Piniella and fucking Goose Gossage. Like those were her two favorites. But it was this is like 80s, 81. And I was, I shouldn't have been staying up much past 8 anyway, but like, those Willie Randolph fucking commercials where he did. Well, it was before Mattingly, really. I mean, Mattingly was after, but like Willie Randolph would do the whatever camera commercials. They were like, "This camera is good enough to catch Willie Randolph jumping, doing the double play jump over move, whatever that shit was called."
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But and I grew up with that. And then just was a Yankees fan. I remember the mid '80s when I was in like junior high or whatever, like 86, where like the Mets were winning or whatever, and I was like, should I switch and be a Mets fan? Like who am I? Like I don't even know who I am, like, and it was like no, I can't, like I'm just gonna like this team or whatever, but
yeah, it feels like you can't betray your initial
which is like again kind of insane. Like I decided to like this team for this reason, and I can't go against that for this arbitrary fucking idea in my fucking head.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like I picked them. I mean, I picked the Mets because they were like winning at the time, I guess. But I was like 8 or 9. I think I liked the blue color of their uniform.
Yeah. Or like they had interesting character, like Mookie Wilson, fucking Lenny Dykstra. Like I know a lot of people from that team, and they were very Doc Good and. Like Gary Carter, that was an interesting fucking team.
They had a lot of personality.
It is a great team to follow.
Yeah, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling.
Yeah, of course. Jesse Orozco. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking great personalities on the team. That's what when I like later on, like I remember the Yankees like late '90s. They're Bernie Williams, Andy Pettit. They're
Jeter.
They're winning. Mariano Rivera, when they're winning, people being like, "Oh, well, you just like winners or whatever." And I was like, I remember Lou Piniella in 1981. I remember my grandmother being like, "Goose," Goose Gossage or whatever. Like I remember Dave Winfield. Dave Winfield's my fucking hero. Like don't give me a fucking hard time. Like
Mr. April.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I mean, a lot of those big hitters are, not always it's always the Scott Brocious or the fucking, the weird fucking Howard Johnson that fucking hits the home run.
Brocious has the best like last name, and Scott Brocious. It sounds fucking cool name.
You like that?
Right. Yeah, I always like I don't hate the Yankees at all. Like I like I'll go to a Yankees game. I just I guess my heart's with the Mets. But I always loved watching Mariano pitch. Like he's
Yeah,
just
he
so
was
smooth.
great. Yeah.
He's so smooth and like he never seemed like I don't know. He's like unflappable or something. It's just kind of cool.
Have you ever been to a game where he's out there for batting practice?
No, can you hit?
No, but he fields, and he would have been probably the best fielding center fielder like of his era if that's
Oh
what he
wow.
had decided to do. Like he is like his thing is he loves like snatching, doing that like Dave Winfield over the wall snatch thing.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
he'll throw the ball to whoever would have caught it anyway. But like he is like one of the best outfielders that, like he could have been a great defensive outfielder.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that like whoever it was his last year that he played, I was kind of out of the baseball loop then, but I'm pretty sure they let him go in for to the outfield for a out or something like
Oh, that's
during one of
cool.
his last years or whatever.
I think like they're different positions obviously, but like Mariano and Ichiro, just a kind of like
Yeah,
smoothness, just, like this kind
yeah,
of remind you of each other, and like that's why I liked Ichiro too, because he seemed just so calm and like kind of like like this is his job. We're gonna go up there and gonna do it really well, and then like um,
yeah.
you never really see him get super like upset or emotional. I don't know. There's something like very cool about that.
I saw. I don't know. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's the first game I saw at Safeco. It might be the second. I think it was when me and Paul Flans were there. The first game I saw, I think, was Oakland Athletics against the Mariners in like a playoff race, and I
Oh,
think that was pretty gnarly. Like I think Edgar Martinez won with like a fucking double to the fucking gap or whatever. But
that's cool.
the next time I was there, it was against the Angels when Vladimir Guerrero was an Angel,
Uh
and just seeing like the difference between those two, like Ichiro in right field and then Vladimir in right field. Like Vladimir is twice the size,
Yeah.
and it looks like he's a centaur. He basically looks like a fucking centaur to me, Vladimir
Right.
Guerrero. Like, why do your thighs come up to 75% of your body? But then Ichiro as well. Like they both look like almost like comic book characters. Like they don't move like
Yeah.
normal people. But
I know. Yeah. Totally. I agree. Yeah. It's it's also crazy, kind of the difference in the crowds at like Safeco compared to New York crowds. Like, I mean, it's a bit. I think to me it's a big difference. Like,
yeah,
in Seattle's definitely more subdued crowd. Like, where I feel like Mets and Yankees fans will like, they'll cheer every strike or ball. Like kind of, or maybe not that much, but I feel like they're just more into the game in New York. Like it's more like a focus. Where in Seattle, there's a lot of people I think just kind of like milling around, kind of like talking to each other, and it's fine. But like I think it's more intense in New York.
yeah.
Um,
I felt like it was that originally. Like when I first started going to games, like in the early 2000s or whatever. But I don't know now. Like everything's so corporate. I'm not
yeah.
sure. I don't know. Can you tell me a Mariner story for a second? Because I gotta piss.
Oh yeah, Mariner story. I don't know if I
It can be
made any good
short.
ones. Oh, what? What? I remember when the Mariners play. There's a couple teams that I really fucking hate going to the stadium to see the Mariners play, and that's the Toronto Blue Jays and Boston Red Sox. The Toronto Blue Jays, because all the fucking Canadian Toronto fans come down to Seattle, um, and then they outnumber the Mariners fans. And I remember once this Blue Jays fan, I was sitting down, came up to me and my friend. She's like, "Aren't you lonely here?" And I really didn't like that. I thought that was pretty rude. Um, and then the Boston fans just like they kind of take over the stadium too, where it's almost like more Red Sox fans. And I have no idea why there are so many like Red Sox fans in Seattle, but there's a lot of them. So um, other stories. Let's see.
I'm back. So thanks. What
Oh,
do
yeah.
give me a synopsis? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying how I hate it when the Blue Jays and Red Sox play because of their fans. Um, a lot of Canadian fans come down from Canada to go to see Seattle games when the Blue Jays play, and then
From way
they
over in
outnumber.
fucking Toronto.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of Vancouver is really close, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of
And they're bad news?
they outnumber the Mariners fans.
Yeah.
And then the Red Sox fans kind of outnumber the Mariners fans sometimes too.
That's just because it's because of the Dropkick Murphys.
Fuck the Red Sox.
I blame the Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah. There's a lot of Red Sox fans here, and I don't know why, but yeah.
I think there's a lot everywhere because they won for the first time in forever.
Yeah, I remember when
recently.
the Mets beat them. It was very satisfying in '86. And
Yeah.
There's a book about the Mets called "The Bad Guys Won" about the '86 season. And it's really good read because it talks about how fucked up on drugs they were. But also how much they wanted to beat the Red Sox, and how one of the pitchers in the Mets, Bob Ojeda, was on the Red Sox and got traded to the Mets, and he's like, I'd rather eat shit than lose to the Red Sox, and it was just very personal.
Yeah, that was a World Series for the fucking ages. Like, I remember, even as a Yankees fan, as a kid, I remember that World Series, and that was fucking epic. And I don't know,
Yeah.
It's
got to be one of the 5 best World Series.
And just like certain things, like I always been fascinated with Sandy Koufax, like reading books about him and how dominant he was in the '60s.
Yeah.
And I think Dwight Gooden was at that level.
Yeah.
That year pretty much, or that year right around then.
I think for 3 years he was dominant, and then the wheels kind of fell off. Yeah.
Yeah, but and it's same Koufax did not have a long career.
Right.
Were you weren't in Seattle for the Randy Johnson, right? He was already gone by then.
I think he moved here. I moved here when he left. I think he left the Mariners in '98, and that's when I moved here.
Yeah.
So I might have had a little crossover, but.
And he wasn't. He was never he wasn't him. He wasn't what he was with the Diamondbacks when he was with the Mariners. I don't think. Right. He was always a little.
He
wilder.
had some good years with the Mariners, but I think he got really dominant when he left. Yeah. And then A-Rod was here when I moved here, and when he left, it was kind of a big deal. But the year he left is when they had that great year.
Yeah, exactly. They had a very good. That was when Brett Boone was fucking roided out of his fucking mind and hit 20.
Yeah.
He had a great. I had him in fantasy baseball that year, Brett Boone, and
he had over 300 that year.
Yeah,
right?
he came in, I think 40 pounds heavier with just straight muscle from the year before. He went from a 240 hitter. They hit 8 home runs and stole fucking 11 bases. They hitting fucking 40 home runs and stealing 30 bases, batting fucking whatever 300.
Yeah, he juiced up big time after that year. Yeah.
Who's
his brother's the Yankees manager, right? Aaron.
Oh, Aaron Boone. Yeah, absolutely. It is. And who's the one that hit the fucking home run that the Red Sox were very upset about?
Yeah, that was good stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's the same. Not being a Yankees fan, but seeing that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. See that's a nice thing where fuck the Red Sox. It's I felt the same way.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. I think Bill Buckner was actually a really solid first baseman, and I don't know why that happened, but I think that ruined his fucking life.
It really sucks that it's funny. Every now and then I'll watch some clips from that game, Game 6, and it's the manager made a lot of boneheaded mistakes. I forget his name, but I think Calvin Schiraldi was pitching or something, and I felt he should have done different pitching changes or something. But Buckner, who was a really good player, kind of borderline Hall of Fame, right? Then has that one bad thing that happened at the fucking worst time possible.
Yeah.
it made me feel really bad for him because he's probably like, like a decent dude who just kind of got fucked,
Yeah, and the way that people take sports so seriously, like it's
Yeah, like he couldn't. I don't think he could like be in Boston after that. It's like
yeah,
he was like injured constantly and like really I think kind of played really hard and put his body on the line and just to get kind of shit on.
yeah. I've been
It's like
thinking about that a lot lately. Like, I had season tickets to the bleachers where you could get like the 25 game package. It was like 2000 to like 2004. I think we had them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the bleachers in Yankee Stadium, so it's $8 a ticket. So it'd be like $200, and you get 20 games, and you get to pick them, but maybe they'd be like no. Like if you took all the Red Sox Mets games, all the like big games, they'd be like, no, we'll give you one of each of the, like.
Oh, you can pick the picking, yeah.
And you get the first game of every playoff round. So like the Yankees Mets 2000 playoff round, I was at that game where Paul O'Neill, like they won in the 12th inning or whatever.
Yeah.
Where the fuck was I going at this point? God damn it. I don't remember.
The Yankees won that game? Is that the first?
They did. Yeah. Oh no. That was the first game, and the Yankees did win. But that wasn't the point I was trying to make. But they did win, like by it was like fucking one of their utility players whose name I can't recall anymore. Like in the ninth inning. Like I think you guys like one of the utility players battled off Armando Benitez. And then Paul O'Neill eventually won the game with a base hit later on. But Paul O'Neill is what I'm talking about. Like, as a fan of that team at the time, I was like, fucking this dude, he's a warrior. He's like, the dude that you want to have because he always gets a clutch hit. He's, like playing his ass off.
Yeah.
But in real life, like, that dude's annoying. Like who the fuck wants to be around that guy? Like, like you wouldn't want to work with him in any other facility besides sports. Like,
I know, yeah.
Come on, Dave, you gotta see, get to the Zoom meeting, like go harder, like just shut the fuck up, dude. Chill your fucking shit.
Sometimes I think about how like we root for these teams who none of them are from the area. Usually like
the players,
It's just like it's not like only New Yorkers play for the Yankees. It's like people from everywhere. It's like you're fans of this team. Like why? Just because you live like close to it. It's like, it's weird when people like it becomes their life. And
I mean, and I've been obsessed with like there have been certain New York Giants football seasons where I've gotten obsessed a little bit, like. And it's a good distraction. Like, it's good to get carried away with. But I think it is kind of crazy if you can step back for a second. Like, people's,
When they beat the Patriots, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think Jim DeGrassi's probably listening, but I got him involved in Giants football. And he would, like, come over and watch. And he kind of became a fan because I'd, like, make food and he'd come over. And I've always felt bad about it because they fucking would lose all the time. And then when they beat the Patriots, like it was kind of like, no, I didn't do you wrong. Like I got you involved in something worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? How many are you on right now? How many beers?
Let's see. I'm on 13.
Oh, all right.
Are you drinking beers or?
No, not right now. I don't actually. I need to go food shopping. I've been putting it off, and I don't. I get beer every now and then, but I'm definitely not that much of a drinker.
Yeah.
And when it's when I go to baseball games, like I feel like weird because I never get a beer. But there's something about paying like $50 for like a shitty beer. Just like I can't do it. I don't know.
Just seeing the like, and I guess is part of us being old or me being old or whatever, but it's like, I remember when I was like, oh, I'm not paying $6 for a fucking beer at a baseball game. And now it's like, $16 for like a 24 ounce, but it's like $16, $18. Like, that's crazy, man.
I know that's like it used to be like a ticket to the game, like
Yeah,
yeah,
sports have like priced me the fuck out. Like I don't give a shit about sports as much because there's literally no, I don't have an accessible way to go,
yeah, and then I know for like when I see you at games every now and then, it's kind of like a chore. You have to go down all the way from Kingston and like go down for the day and come back up, and then if you want to get
what's
food
a
or
Mariners game cost now? Like
um
what's a good like a cheap ticket, like
I
decent.
was a decent ticket, probably like $40.
Okay.
I think every now and then, me and my friends, we kind of splurge to get like $60 or $70
Okay.
tickets, and that would get us like on the first level, like kind
Gotcha.
of up a little bit. And that was kind of what you did. But then you go, if you want to get any food and
Yeah.
it's, um,
Well,
the
I
good
think,
thing.
but how are you getting there? You have like some public transit to get there.
Well, yeah. Kind of depends. I would drive sometimes and then pay through the nose for parking. But now they have this thing called a light rail here, and I actually moved in March, and I have a townhouse, and it's like a half
Where are
a
you living
block.
in Seattle? I know like White Center. I know the Capital Region.
I'm sort of close to White Center.
Okay.
I'm in Columbia City, and it's like South Seattle.
Okay.
Um, but I live a half a block from the light rail, which is like their version of the subway, but it's mostly
Gotcha.
overground. But it stops right by the stadium. So I was looking forward to being in here in March because I'm like, I could just walk like 2 minutes to the light rail, and then it stops like really close to the stadium. But because of COVID, there's been no games, so I haven't had a chance to really take full advantage of the public transportation for games here.
Yeah.
Um, but even before that, I would drive to the light rail and take it because it was just cheaper and easier than parking near the stadium because that would get pretty crazy.
Yeah. Is parking like the stadium parking crazy there too?
Yeah, I mean it's like at least $40 or something.
Really?
Well, it's
It's
depending where it is. I guess I don't know what the prices are in New York because I'm so used to here, but
yeah. I mean, New York's
um,
a nightmare, but
yeah, but there's a place right next to the stadium. I think it's like 40 or $50
wow. I mean,
the
that
game.
seems like high to me, but I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies where businesses kind of open their parking lot for $20
Yeah.
parking to make a quick buck. But
You
yeah, I
get
like the
into any
stadium.
Seahawks? You get into any Seahawks shit?
I like watching the Seahawks. I like Russell Wilson a lot. He's super fun
Yeah.
to watch play. I've only been to one game in person, and it was pretty intense. And people were like on their feet the whole fucking time,
Yeah.
like yelling. Um, I don't know if I could see myself doing that a lot. Like I like watching games on TV, but
Yeah, I think
it was
football is like better for TV. I think
yeah,
baseball is fun to be at if you're not going to spend $1 million. If you're not going to spend three.
right,
Baseball's not like I'm not going to spend $300 for a baseball game. If
yeah,
I can spend $70, $75, and go to a baseball game and get a little bit drunk and have fun, that's worth it to me. But that's like
yeah. I think
my
that,
threshold. Like
that
$75. No more.
that's a
Like
good value.
$100 is not $100 of baseball. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's when you feel like shit. That's
Yeah,
a
like
lot of
give
money.
me like I paid maybe $100 for that like 12 inning Yankees Mets World Game 1 World Series game. I'd pay $100 for that. But like
Oh yeah,
regular season, like no, I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna watch some like 8-1 massacre for for $100. Like you're out of your mind. I
I
think.
do you remember? Do you remember the game we went to at Yankee Stadium where it was fucking freezing?
Yes, I do.
Uh,
Yes, I do.
that was like in April. Was that maybe 2 years ago or 3 years
Mhm.
ago? But that was rough.
Yeah,
I
it was,
remember
and it
like
was an exciting game. It seemed, it was fun to be at a game. It was, my first time at a game in years, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was fucking cold as fucking shit. And then with the pitching changes and the, it's
I
a
remember
lot to fucking.
it was an extra inning game, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
And then like you guys left, and I stayed, and I got to move down to like the first level because everyone left because it was so cold.
yeah,
And that was kind of cool, but like it was hard getting through that game because I think I had to like think about being cold and having to take a leak at the same time. It's like
yeah.
it's
I don't.
not
Well, and
fun.
the lines for the bathrooms are really long because the bathrooms are only place fucking warm. So there's dudes hanging out in the fucking bathrooms to like stay warm. It's like this is you paid $100 to get in here. You're not a hobo. Like buy a better coat, motherfucker. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Fucking,
Well, that's when like when you spend a lot of money and you're like not you're freezing cold and want to go home. It's like I don't know. You like try to reassess your
yeah,
how you're spending your money.
yeah. I mean, it was nice, just like you, me, Jim, and Ian getting to hang
Yeah,
out. Like that's
it was
what I was
fun.
there for the camaraderie. You
Oh yeah,
know.
that's why I like going to games. It's fun going with a friend and like
Yeah.
just it's like fun talking and it's yeah, like you said, baseball's fun to watch in person. I
Yeah.
really like
And
it.
it's a cool it's a good sports are a good thing to bring people together just because they're like, oh, I like this guy, you like this guy, why do you like this, and like I don't know, there's a unifying kind of cool thing about it, but it's
For sure.
become so like so expensive that I think
Yeah.
that you've lost that, like where I don't know. You used to have like, oh, fucking Willie Randolph. Oh, he's a great second baseman. But now it's like it's a whole different thing, I think now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Right.
So where am I going? When you moved out to Seattle with the Pulses, right?
Yeah, kind of. So Jesse and Larry moved out before I did. They moved out like almost a year before I did, and then I had graduated and was living in New Paltz, and I was working at the Barnes and Noble in Poughkeepsie, and I was like, I didn't know what to do with my life, and I really wanted to play with Jesse again. And he was in Seattle, and then I visited there with Ian Barnett and Jim, and I was like, oh, I think I could live here. And then me and Ian Barnett decided to move to Seattle, like I think it's like about 9 months after Jesse and Larry had moved here.
Okay.
And um, the idea was to do the pulses again, and we started out doing it with me, Ian Barnett, and Jesse, and then Ian quit, and then we got this guy named Shannon to
Did
play
you
bass.
drive out there or did you?
Yeah, me and Ian drove from New Paltz to Seattle, and we did it pretty quickly. We did like in 4 days.
Yeah.
We didn't really have feel the need to stop very much. Like we stopped at Mount Rushmore.
What were you
Um,
driving?
I was driving a Chevy, I think it was an '88 Chevy Beretta. It was
Do you drive separately? No.
no, we drove together. Yeah, we
Okay.
drove together. Drove together in
And
my
you,
car. So
so you went north. You stopped at Mount Rushmore. I've never been there.
yeah, we went to Waldrug. That that's like a fake like country western town, very touristy.
Okay, it's like northern South Dakota thing as well. I've
Yeah, but
never been
like
to either Dakota or Hawaii. Those are the three states I haven't been to for some
yeah, I've
reason.
been to those. But it was
Well,
pretty
fuck
fun. It
you.
was like kind of exciting because this was before GPS, and I remember like getting the AAA triptychs or whatever they had, um, to get the maps to go there. And I had never driven across country, so I was a little nervous about it. But
Yeah,
it was cool having Ian there, and Ian's like a rock, fucking steady,
yeah,
steady, nutty Ian
yeah.
Barnett.
He's a solid dude.
Um, but yeah, we didn't really do much. I think it was just like we didn't have a whole lot of money, so it wasn't like, well, let's go, you know, party it up. We just, went to pancake houses and slept in hotels, and
Yeah,
and
But
got
that's
to
an
Seattle pretty quickly.
interesting part of the country to drive through. Like, you know, the Dakotas, and you probably drove through Montana and Wyoming, and, you know, you're
That was
going through.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That whole Montana, Wyoming was great. But I remember I hit a deer like in the middle of the night, I
Oh,
think in
no.
Wyoming, and it fucking freaked me out. Like I hit it like dead on, going like 60, 70, and
Holy
pitch
shit.
black. And I remember I pulled over right away and was like, shit, fuck, and um, I stopped, and then got out of the car, and then Ian's like, can you get back in the car? Let's drive a little more. I was just like, okay. And then I drove like another mile, and I was like, why did you want me to keep going? And Ian was like, well, I could hear the deer moaning in the road, and it was freaking me out.
Wow. Jesus.
So I don't know, like, I didn't, we didn't have cell phones. I didn't know, like,
Yeah.
do I call like the police and tell them that I hit a deer and that
Yeah.
carcass might be on the highway? Like, I just didn't know what to do. So we just left, and it was like I couldn't open my driver's side door, and my light was busted, and
Woof.
I was just I think I had Ian drive after that. I was just really
Yeah.
freaked out.
Yeah.
And Ian was
I
like,
bet.
it was kind of like, whatever. But I remember we got to a hotel, and I was just like, oh my god. That was like the most exciting thing that happened. I think Ian got pulled over for speeding, but talked his way out of it.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, and then we got to Seattle, and yeah, I didn't know how long I'd be here, and I'm kind of surprised I've been here for like 22 years now, but I like it.
Was Barnes and Noble your first job when you got on there?
Yeah, so I had worked at the one in Poughkeepsie for about a year.
Lara from Tiger Piss worked there as well.
She worked in the
After you at the Poughkeepsie one, yeah.
Oh wow! So yeah, I worked in the Poughkeepsie one from '97 to '98, and then I got a transfer to the Seattle one. So that was kind of nice. So I knew I had a job right away, and back then it actually kind of was okay. I could make a living working at Barnes and Noble and splitting rent in a 4-bedroom house in Seattle.
Because rent was cheap enough. Like, what were you making per hour at Barnes and Noble? Is it okay to ask?
Maybe like $10.
Okay, yeah.
But in '98, it was like
that was
not
good.
great.
Yeah,
it was like okay. So I lived in a house it was me, Jesse, Larry, and Ian, and we shared a house. Then, yeah, but Barnes and Noble was cool. I met a lot of cool people there, but I wound up working there for like 14 years, and I was really fucking hating it at the end. Just I wasn't getting paid a lot. Managers were dicks, and just dealing with customers that way. Any kind of retail thing. Just I think it was like 35. It's like, this is just terrible. Like, I do not want to live my life like this anymore.
But you met Duff McKagen.
I met some cool people. I met Duff, who was super nice. I met Kim Thale from Soundgarden, who was really cool.
How was he? Like, what was that like?
He came in, and he was super into South Park. I remember he'd buy South Park DVDs, and he wanted them to be in like perfect condition. So if there was like a nick in the corner, he'd ask if there was another one. But I was a huge Soundgarden fan, so I was just like, I was like, fanboy, like, hey man, I really like Soundgarden. And then I told him about the shows I went to. He's like, oh, I remember that one. It was super hot, and like he had a good memory. And I would talk.
I don't know if you remember the VMAs, and I'm not sure when this was. Maybe it was when you were still in New Paltz.
Mm-hmm.
But it was it was a hauler. It was when hauler was a thing. But we were living in that beer distributor house and watching. It was they won the Black Hole Sun VMA or whatever. And they walk up there, and it's fucking Chris Cornell with like a fucking suit, and Kim Thiel with a fucking threadbare Sonic Youth shirt. Like, you can see through fucking holes through it. and he's just got a natty light in his fucking hand. And Chris Cornell is all like makeuped up, and he's like got the short hair and the fucking suit, and he's doing his speech, and Kim Thiel's just like slouching behind him, sucking on a natty light, and I was like, and Holler, everyone in Holler was like, you were a fucking god amongst men, like you were, you're sitting there drinking a natty light while this fucking Hollywood motherfucker like talk shit, and it was,
Yeah.
I don't know, he's a powerful dude. He's got great riffs. He's
He's great. I always liked it because he came to Barnes and Noble kind of often, and like we kind of developed like a slight friendship because we talk about music and stuff, and he was always like willing to talk, and like he likes to talk actually, and like
do you have his number?
No, but I actually got Mike McCready's phone number from Pearl Jam because he would come in there a lot.
Do you want to call him right now and try to do a three-way?
Yeah, but it was funny because I kept running into Kim from Soundgarden at like other shows, and I think it forced him to remember my name. Like, hey Dave, how's it going? And it was just cool talking to him. He was like such a interesting dude. I definitely felt like he was kind of like I don't know if he was like obsessive about certain things, but he definitely was like the guy who like is in charge of the Soundgarden like catalog, like for like remastering, because he'd be like, what do you think, Dave? Should Soundgarden put out like a box set or just
he'd ask you?
Or should we reshoot each album with bonus tracks? And I was like, I don't know.
I mean, you better fucking find an opinion quick, son.
But he was cool. And then Mike McCready from Pearl Jam would come in. He was like awesome. We would talk about X-Files and like AC/DC and Cheap Trick, and like he gave me his phone number once, and I remember I texted him and he never texted back. But
you want to call him right now? We'll talk about it.
I feel weird. Who knows if he has the same number? But
yeah.
Duff gave me his number once.
I know.
Too.
Well, we're gonna get to the Duff, but
it was weird. Like famous people would shop at that Barnes and Noble, and I helped Kevin Bacon once, and Conan O'Brien used to come in because his wife's from Seattle, and
all right.
It was a shitty job, but it was made better by cool people and the occasional like celebrity sighting.
I kind of want to call Duff McKagen and have a three-way call with him, but I don't know.
He gave me his number like about 20 years ago.
It probably still works, but
it might still work. I might even still have it in my phone. I'm not sure if I have his anymore. But he was fun because I was a huge Guns N' Roses fan, and like he was in college getting books for school, and I would help him, find books for his classes, and he was just like a really sweet guy.
That's what made me start playing drums. Was that Welcome to the Jungle video?
Yeah,
that Tama kit with those bright Zildjian symbols, like.
Yeah.
I think that's the prettiest kit I've ever seen in that, Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah, video. I was a huge fan of Appetite for Destruction, and I had told him that I saw them play once, and he was cool, and this was like before Velvet Revolver and stuff. But we come in with his kids and his wife, and they were all very nice.
And he's come to some of your shows, no?
No, he never.
He never came to some.
I think I gave him a Pulses CD once, and it was like it's like a demo CD. He's like, "Yeah, I think with a little production, these could be pretty cool." But he was like kind of a guy about town because he had been in like a lot of punk bands.
Well, he's the fastback. The fastbacks, like, are they like well known about? I mean, right? Are they? Do they live there? Do they? What is it, Kurt Bloch?
Yeah, Kurt Bloch. Yeah, he's an awesome dude. Like he's been to like Wimp shows, and we played shows with his band. And
what is his band now?
Well, he's in a band with the guy from Peter Buck from REM.
Okay.
And, Corin from Steve Bikini called Filthy Friends.
Oh, so you play with them, and you probably play dive bars, right?
Yeah, we opened up for them in Eugene, Oregon,
okay.
And it was funny because everyone went to see the guy from REM and the lady from Sleater-Kinney, but Kurt is just really super down to earth and really like he records a ton of bands and
Yeah.
he goes to all the shitty punk shows, and like I think he's like probably like 60 now, and like he still is like just like a very happy, optimistic guy. And
It's like how the way if I got really successful, I'd be like this, and that's how he is, right? No,
he's just like I feel like he's like what you want to turn into as like an older like punk dude, because he's like very outgoing and like fun and easy to talk to.
That's awesome.
But the Fastbacks, they still occasionally will play every now and then. I think they're mostly broken up. But yeah, he was also in the Young Fresh Fellows, another band that plays every now and then.
Oh.
But he's super cool. I like him a lot.
All right. Well, hey man, it's been fucking great, Chad.
Yeah, man. I talked to you for an hour. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, do you anything else you want to go through?
No, I think we covered a lot. We talked about music and baseball, and we didn't talk about Jim DeGrassi, but we could save that for another time.
Yes, we can.
We could talk shit.
You know, my favorite thing about Dave Ramm talking on the phone is that it's Dave Ramm and he's talking on the phone.
I was excited you asked me for an interview because
yeah, dude. And honestly, I was excited to chat with you. And honestly, the third interviews are always hard because I'm drunk as shit. And it's good because you and me are naturals.
You kept it together, man.
No, it was you. It was all you. We're good friends.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, have a good night. I'll keep in touch if you want a round two someday.
I will. Love you, bud.
All right. Take it easy, man. Bye.
All right, bud. All right, that was Dave Ramm from the Wimps. Thanks for tuning in to episode 17 of 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon. We're going to close out with some Dead Unicorn, but if you hear this on the podcast, you won't hear that. But look for Dead Unicorn because they're really fucking good.
$15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. That sounds about right. That sounds metal as fuck.
15 Beers on Tuesday afternoon is a Crazy Rev Kev production.